Hey guys, this is Locke. This video is going to be about the top 5 tips that you never knew, New Player Edition. The first tip is when you are trying to raise your unit's job levels, you might be missing some materials. Like for example, if you happen to need more of these water alchrists, it gives you the places that you can farm. But the best place to farm is actually in Chapter 5. Now this is actually very easy to get to. There is, over 15 chapters in part 1, but chapter 5 actually gives you, chapter 5 scene 1 actually gives you the highest rate of these item drops, like especially the alchrists. So if I need earth alchrists, I would actually go to chapter 5 scene 1 battle number 3, and so on and so on. So whatever material I need for yellow alchrists, I would go to the chapter 5 scene 1 stories to get it. And if I need red alchrist, I would actually do this first and use the item exchange before I would farm the red alchrist, because this it just seems a lot more efficient for me. So how I would do that is, for example, if I would need wind alchrists, I would farm up the yellow wind alchrist here, and then I would go to the red one here and go to upward exchange to move the slider over and get more wind alchrists. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is when you want to increase the skill levels of your units. Like for example, my Tifa, I want to increase some of her skills, and I need a lot of JP for that. So to farm JP, I would go to the far plane. Then I would go to this key quest. You get a bunch of these JP reward crystals. JP reward keys. I would go to this I would go to this quest, and then I make sure that I choose a companion with this specific card, the what is it called? The job crystal card, because this gives you for the whole party an acquired JP up of 50%. This stacks with the bonus that you're going to get from the JP reward quest, so you always want to have a companion that has that card. Now for the units that you have yourself, as you are most likely a new player, you probably don't have all these vision cards that gives you increased JP. Like for example, this one gives you a bestowed effect of increased JP, and this card you can actually buy from the special shop for I don't know, I think like $8 or something. So you can buy and max it yourself, and then you can also have a 50% boost to your party. It actually stacks with your companion that is a 50% boost. But either way, you want to at least make sure that you hire some companion that has this card, like one of these units that I just chose, because that's going to significantly increase the amount of JP that you get from this quest. So that's tip number 2. Now for tip number 3, you can go to the selection quests to farm awakening materials. So for example, the Wind Awakening quest, you can go and you can see that you will actually get up to 100 of these awakening prisms and 50 of these fragment of thoughts on a monthly basis as you're doing this quest. So this is a good way to farm just a little bit of these awakening materials for the 3 elements that are released right now, and eventually we will actually get more and more of these elements released. So make sure you keep a lookout for that and farm up these items that you need to awaken your units. Tip number 4, if you go to the Chocobo expedition, you can see that you can select this you can select this one, the Midgar Sector 6 Undercity, to get shards of Cloud and Tifa. And on top of that, you can actually use this high-speed expedition to increase the number of items that you're getting. However, the tip actually is to not use your best tickets right now. Use a lower variety tickets. Like for example, I have a ton of these like 2-hour ones and 5-hour ones, but a limited amount of the 10-hour ones. So the tip is to not use the 10-hour ones until all 4 units are released, because I would rather get shards of everyone than shards of just these 2. And since I only have 30 of these 10-hour expeditions, if I use them all now, I won't have any left over when Barret and Aerith are released. So I would rather wait for them to be released and then use the 10-hour tickets. Right now, I'm just going to be using the 5-hour tickets. And also, it's better to use this whenever you proc the Chocobo speed up boost, like when you're running stages on story or events, this chocobo comes running over and says chocobo rate increased or something. So when that procs, that is the time that you want to be using these tickets, because that gives you an increased chance of getting more rare items. So that's tip number 4. And finally, for my last tip, it is in the far plane. There's a new quest that showed up. This quest is this one, Affinity Resonance quest. As you run this, you get a huge boost to your resonance with the espers that you have equipped, but you also get an increased amount of affinity. And to really take advantage of the affinity, you want to have all your units stay within each other's range and use a skill. So since I've already used the quest for today, I'm going to show you an example in a different chapter, just to show you what it looks like. So part 1, this is the chapter, just because everybody starts kind of close. I'm going to show you here. Oops. Sorry, it's this one that I go to. Okay. So just an example, you make sure you turn off auto. And also, when you were doing the JP Resonance quest, you can also make sure you have this item turned on. Use JP Acquisition Up item, and choose, the overlights that gives you increased JP. I forgot to mention that earlier, so I hope that part is clear. When you use that JP thing that I showed you about with the card that gives you increased JP, make sure you use that item. Anyway, for this one, make sure you turn off the auto when you're running the Affinity and Resonance quest, and this is how you want your units to work in the first few turns. So at least for like 10 turns you want to do this, because that way it builds up a lot of affinity. You want them to stand next to the unit that you want the affinity to be, and use a skill like this, and then just end your turn. And so for her, she can use, for example, any skill. She can even like auto attack if I want, so I can do something like this. So these units will get affinity to whoever they're standing next to. Geez. Sometimes the controls are a bit hard to get them to do what I want them to do, but something like that. You can either auto attack or you can use a skill. Both of them will work. You can even do like a skilled attack to the enemy as well. All of these will work just as well to build your resonance. So anyway, those are my 5 tips. These are actually aimed at newer players, as I said, but maybe if you're an older player, maybe you didn't know 1 or 2 of these tips as well. I hope it helped, and if you have, especially if older players have some tips that I didn't mention and you want to share, please leave them in the comments below, and I hope that the newer players will read the comments as well. If anything is unclear, please leave me a comment as well, and I hope to see you guys next time. Take care.